movieweb.com.
I had another nightmare last night. I can't tell what's real anymore. Is there anybody else out there that this is happening to?
Every time that I dream, there's always this man.
That's his mark, isn't it? Freddy.
Oh my God, you've seen him too. Who are you?
Remember me?
In this film, I thought one of the interesting differences from the other films is that they don't really know the guilt of Freddy at the beginning. It's sort of in question throughout the film whether he really did these heinous crimes or not. And so I was wondering if that sort of change gave you the freedom to sort of recreate the character the way you wanted to.
You know, I don't think that was like the impetus. I think that was more of just the structure of the story, which is kind of because it's pretty similar. It's just whether you go 1, 2, 3 or 2, 1, 3. You know, it's just the order in which you're kind of choosing to tell it. I think you know, what I kind of wanted to do was, you know, go along with Sam in the sense that, you know, he wanted to re-envision this thing, and he kind of felt that it had, over the years, in a rightful way, had gotten campy, comedic, still horrific, great fun, good sardonic humor, and that's what Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street became. So in the re-envisioning of it, he kind of wanted to go back to its origins. Nightmare on Elm Street was much darker than where it had gone. So I kind of embraced that. And even though, you know, you got to pay homage, right? So we still got the kind of dialogue that Freddy normally has, but I think it was just a matter of owning it a little bit more. And I think that the depth in the backstory, you know, I guess you're right. I guess it does kind of give a little bit more weight to his seeking of revenge, his teaching of these lessons, him righting these wrongs. And I think it does kind of add a certain kind of bit of tension to, you know, to the sick fun of it all.
You know, the movie isn't really a remake, it's a reinvention. Okay. So, although very purposefully we've lifted parts from the original movie to pay homage to it, there are elements that have been fleshed out and thought of very differently from the original movie. And telling an origin story was very interesting to us, and I'm not so sure it was ever dealt with in the way that we've dealt with it, kind of a realistic, disturbing way. And it's one of the things I'm proudest of, is the going back into Freddy's past and seeing how he became Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, and some of the changes to Nancy's character, because she's a little bit different in this film.
I mean, but it's the same thing. I mean, you know, it's a new Nancy. You know what I'm saying? It's I think we were paying homage to it by calling her Nancy, but she really isn't the same Nancy.
Well, Rooney, I wanted to ask you, because your Nancy is specifically different in many ways than the original Nancy was portrayed in the first film. So you could talk a little bit about those differences, how maybe that gave you some freedom of creating the character, and then, of course, doing the iconic bathtub scene.
The bathtub scene.
My favorite scene.
Yeah, I mean, our Nancy is completely different, and I think that sort of came from the fact that our movie is so much darker and that we added a lot of backstory. And so because of that, we had to make the character different, because when you know what's happened to her as a child, you have to have some sort of result from that. So, you know, Sam likes to call our Nancy the loneliest girl in the world. So she's quite traumatized and sort of a loner and has a hard time connecting with people. And then she sort of connects with Quentin, and they sort of help each other figure things out. And what was the question about the back?
Just about doing that iconic scene. Of course, it's on the poster of the original movie.
Yeah, that was an interesting day. You know, the rig for that scene, they did it sort of wrong. They put the the placement for where the claw comes through in the wrong spot. They put it too close to me. So, and also the person who was doing it, their arm wasn't long enough, so it was actually really scary because it was coming dangerously close to where you don't want blades.
Knives.
Yeah.
Well, depending on who you are, of course.
You don't really want
Yes.
knives anyway.
Yeah, that's.
So it was scary.
Wake up.
You really shouldn't fall asleep in class.